KTOO would like to acknowledge that we broadcast from the homelands of the Aukeman. The Clenady have stewarded this area for thousands of years. Today, our studios sit on a spot once part of the tidelands, now covered over with buildings, roads, and parking lots. We recognize those families who traveled to and from these tidelands to fishing and hunting grounds and to gatherings in other villages, and still cherish it as an important part of their way of life for today and for future generations. From listener-supported KTOO, welcome to Juneau Afternoon, broadcasting live from the homelands of the Aukeman and on demand as a podcast. It's Thursday, July 31st, 2025. I'm your host, Boston Christopher, Gwyneth Cheesh, Hawat, Toksaknusum, Salamat. Thank you for joining the conversation. You can also join us via our live stream on YouTube at ktoo.org/JPMLive or by hitting us up on KTOO's Facebook and Instagram pages. Conversations coming up this hour on Juneau Afternoon. The Juneau Archery Club is repairing their boardwalk and you can help. We learn about the club and their volunteer event happening this Saturday, August 2nd. We chat with Tongass Federal Credit Union about their new program, Jumpstart Your Life. It's a guide, a free resource designed specifically for high school seniors and recent grads in Southeast. We take a listen to this week's Our Living Lands from Native Voice One, and we start today with the Aukeman Triathlon. It's happening this Saturday, August 3rd, and today is the last day to register and to get you motivated. I have joined in now. I'm joined now in the studio by Daniel Wiersma. Gwyneth Cheesh, Haigudi. Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming in. It's a pleasure to see you. Wasiiti.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Yes, Aukeman is coming up this Sunday, the 31st. You will see signs on the road. You will see cones in the road. If you are out and about Sunday morning, starting as early as 5:30 a.m., we will have people setting stuff up, and we will have some of our long-distance athletes not getting back into UAS until as late as 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's a big day. There'll be minimal traffic impacts. Most of the bikes will be out of the valley and out the road by 8:30, 9 o'clock. But it'll be lots of runners on back loop, lots of cyclists on back loop for the start of the morning. Awesome.
Well, let's go back a little bit. When did Aukeman start?
Oh, man. Aukeman started as a informal event by a bunch of just self-motivated triathletes years ago. It became a official NGO, nonprofit organization in Juneau in 2017, I believe. Mm-hmm. And over the last several years, we have been able to grow extensively. We've changed the courses. We have minimized traffic impacts, made expansion to both the type of events that we offer, and then also expanded our capacity for the events.
Cool. And where does it take place?
We are based out of UAS as kind of the hub of operations. It's got our transition area, our finish line, our beer garden, and pizza truck, Forno Rosso, Forbidden Peak, and nice. Then we have entertainment this year being provided by DJ Al from Boogie Wonderland Entertainment.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then the swim course is, of course, in Auk Lake. The water temps are great. We got our water quality test back, and that is looking pristine. And so very excited about that. The bike course is everybody heads out to the glacier, and then the sprint athletes are done when they get back to UAS with the bike. Our Olympic athletes go all the way out to T Harbor, and our long-distance athletes head all the way out the road to Sunshine Cove and then come back.
Okay. Now, I do want to ask about this because this is interesting. I mean, a lot of people who are into this are probably already registered. Today is the last day to register. You got to get your registration in if this is the first time you're hearing about it. But what's cool about this is that it can be a team effort, right? Not you could do it solo if you want, but you can also get a team together.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a big growth in our relay participation. I think some people have taken advantage of kind of recognizing strengths with like their kids, whether they're high school swimmers or college athletes who are back in town for the summer. We have some people who are coming from as far away as Ohio, Tennessee, Colorado, a few other places on the East Coast, California, Washington. We've got people coming in from around Alaska as well.
Wow, it's great. And what are the triathlon part? Usually that's swimming, biking, running, right?
Yes.
So what are the distances of these particular areas this year?
Yeah, so the sprint is a 750-meter swim. The Olympic is 1,500 and 1,900 for the long.
Okay.
The bike course is about 12 miles for the sprint. The Olympic is 25 miles, and then the long distance is 56 and a half, or 57 if you miss the turn by a little bit. And then the runs are a 5K, a 10K, so 3.1 and 6.2 miles. And then the long distance athletes are out there the longest, and they're doing 12.2 miles.
Wow. So it sounds like there's 3 different categories that you can compete in, right? And is there a
Distances.
winner? Like, do you get a prize for winning?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We have prizes will go out to the top male and female finishers overall.
Okay.
But then also we adhere to the USA Triathlon age group rankings.
Okay.
And the winner in each of those age groups will also get an additional medal.
Okay.
We also have borrowed from the Iditarod, and we do have a Red Lantern Award.
Oh, what is the Red Lantern?
Red Lantern Award is kind of the Alaskan symbol of you were out there, you went hard, you completed the course, and we respect your endurance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we have an actual Red Lantern, Hurricane Lantern, that'll go to whichever of our athletes is out on the course the longest on Sunday.
That's cool. Now, how many people, I'm just curious about this, how many people do the long course solo?
Most people actually do the long course solo.
Yeah. Wow, because that seems like, the ultimate test.
It is certainly a test. Just drove the road this morning, and it's looking awesome. DOT did a great job of patching it and cleaning it up, and I have not biked that as much this year as I have in years past, and it is a lot of rolling hills, and it's gorgeous, but it's a respectable bike course.
It's going to be tough, yeah.
Yeah.
Which do you do it, and which category do you do?
I am not doing it because I'm
too busy organizing.
Yeah, what a horrible thing. I do enjoy doing races. My favorite distance is the long distance.
Okay. Are you involved in other races throughout the year when you're not organizing it?
This year's been a little bit off because I'm dealing with a knee injury, courtesy of doing a bunch of other races. But yes, I do. Yeah. I do participate in a variety of other races.
Yeah.
And but then I'm also I've been helping the city with the new kids program that we talked about earlier this year in April.
You're right.
And
the
then,
Diamond Dash or whatever it was called.
And then the Diamond Dash is the open to the public race that occurs at the end of April or beginning of May as well. And that's open to everybody, and that was a lot of fun. We learned some great lessons from that, but that's just a really achievable, open to anybody event.
That's cool. Now, you also were putting out a call for volunteers. It sounds like you still need some volunteers, and so tell us about volunteering and what people need to do because, someone like myself, I'm not doing the short one, the medium one, or the long one.
Sure.
But if I wanted to volunteer, what could I do and how do I get involved?
Yeah, we have openings for volunteers. There's an extensive list available via our website, aukementri.com. Find the volunteer tab, and you can link to it there. We will also take help day of. We have anything from, we need to resupply Gatorade out the road. Can you bring this jug out there to, I need you to stand here and double check people's IDs and make sure nobody under 21's in the beer garden. Or we have medical volunteers who are just present and available, recognizing that some people are going to be pushing limits to do whichever distance they're doing that day.
That's cool. Yeah. And you have some entertainment you mentioned, Boogie Wonderland Entertainment, DJ Al, who does a show over here on KRNN, I believe, as well. He'll be out there spinning some tunes. And is that like at the final, like when you're all done, he's gonna
be there all day.
Oh, wow. He's going to be spinning all day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So he's helping us with PA system and announcing and keeping it a lively space the whole time.
I love that. That's so good. Now, you mentioned the website, Aukeman Tri, T-R-I.
Correct.
AukemanTri.com. Is there anything that people need to do to register, or is it all pretty self-explanatory on the website?
It is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yep.
If you get your team together, if you want to do it as a team, you can find out more details there about that. What time does it start? You said you're going to people will be working on stuff around 5:30, but when does the race actually begin?
The race starts at 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
with the long distance swimmers going in the water. 15 minutes later, the Olympic distance get into the water, and then the sprint starts a half hour after that at 7:15.
Okay. Great. And I did notice this. I saw this on your Facebook page about if anybody had, if you want to jump in last minute, that's cool, but you will need a wetsuit. Wetsuits are required. At least that's what your Facebook says.
Yes.
Okay. But you can help people out with that.
We can help with a discount, but you're probably not going to get it in time for right now. You'll have to borrow one or find somebody to lend you one.
I see.
Right now.
Okay.
Clarification on that, we say it's a wetsuit required event because most years it falls in the wetsuit required range.
In terms of temperature and
stuff? In terms of temperature,
yeah. Okay.
This year we had that nice warm stretch last week, and that actually brought the temp up to the point where wetsuits become optional.
Oh, awesome.
But the lake temps can change by 5 to 10 degrees depending on rainfall and sun exposure and all that. So we do require wetsuits, but come morning of, we'll announce the temp. And if you don't want to wear yours and it's above 62 degrees, go nuts.
Make it happen. I love that. Okay, it's the Aukeman Triathlon. It's this year's version. It's out the road. It's over going to be base camp is UAS.
That is correct.
And you can find out more and get registered, which you have to do by today. Or I think you can get up to noon on Friday, right?
Up till noon tomorrow.
Up to noon on Friday, August 1st. Get yourself registered. And if you want to volunteer, go to their website, AukemanTri.com, and see what might still be available to help out and be a volunteer. That's always a good thing. Watch the race. Daniel, thanks so much for coming in. Good cheese for being here. And best of luck on the race.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you'll stop by.
Hopefully your bum knee doesn't get you.
No, it won't.
All right. This is Juneau Afternoon from KT.
Support from Hanson Gress, network engineering and customer support. Opportunities for those who thrive on problem solving. Details at hansongress.com/careers.
This is Our Living Lands, and I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Across the country, rising seas are threatening indigenous lands. The Pamunkey Indian tribe, which sits on the bend of the Pamunkey River in Virginia, was recently named one of the country's most endangered historic places. Our Living Lands producer Daniel Spalding spoke with Kendall Stevens, the tribe's Cultural Resources Director, and Joseph Capella, the tribe's Natural Resources Director, about their work to protect Pamunkey lands.
For listeners who might not be familiar with the Pamunkey homelands, can you describe them?
Sure. So the Pamunkey Indian tribe was one of the first contact tribes. So one of the first tribes that encountered English and Spanish people in the 16th century. Pamunkey tribal lands are in King William County, Virginia, which is in the Tidewater area, so right on the Pamunkey River. The reservation is about 1,600 acres, and it's horseshoe-shaped that follows the line of the Pamunkey River. So it's about half wetlands and half farm fields. There are about 100 people who live there on the reservation, and it's the headquarters of the Pamunkey Indian tribe.
The Pamunkey Reservation was recently named one of the most endangered sites in the country. What are the impacts you are seeing from climate change and rising water?
The shoreline of the reservation is facing pretty high erosion rates. There's this combination of rising sea level and sinking ground. So we're seeing sea level rise affect the reservation really quickly on this stretch of the river. As well as sea level rise, we do see a lot of stormwater flooding as well. So there's a lot of nuisance flooding fishing and ponding across the reservation. More frequent and intense storms are obviously exacerbating those issues.
I want to add in too that, like lots of tribes, and I think lots of groups around the world, we think of natural and cultural resources as being pretty inextricable. We're really worried about the cultural impacts too of losing this land and losing the really important archaeological information, losing the really important historic buildings and grave sites and people's homes and artwork that are housed on the reservation.
Small East Coast tribes often don't get as much national attention as larger tribes. What are some of the unique challenges that come with being a small East Coast tribe?
Yeah, so Pamunkey, though it was one of the first tribes to come in contact with the English, and the reservation was established by treaty in 1646 through treaty with the Crown of England. It wasn't recognized by the federal government until 2016, which is just completely mind-blowing. And I'm sure, like a lot of tribes know, even when there is federal acknowledgement, it's not like anyone comes in to help you learn how to administrate like a sovereign nation. So there's certainly a learning curve and a funding curve with figuring out how to do everything that you need to do as a sovereign nation. There's a big learning curve with external agencies too, especially in Virginia, that aren't used to dealing with sovereign nations, where consultation, especially like good faith consultation, has been a long time coming, and we're still kind of working with lots of agencies and institutions to figure out what our relationships are going to be like.
And what is the tribe doing to adapt and respond to these risks?
So for one, to handle sea level rise, we're trying to get living shorelines installed on the shorelines of the reservation. So these are basically rock sills along the edge of the shoreline with sand filled behind it and then marsh grasses planted behind it. So this is meant to attenuate wave action and help minimize erosion, kind of better armor the reservation for this wave action, for sea level rise, for intense storms, etc. But we're projected to need about $4 million worth of those when all is said and done. And even then, you're fighting kind of an inevitable, approach of sea level. And then in terms of stormwater flooding, we're working with various entities such as Virginia Department of Transportation, Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources, a few different agencies to try and just kind of do a large-scale engineering assessment of the reservation. And being an underserved community, a lot of the roads, a lot of the landscape wasn't really designed with these climate risks in mind.
And we've seen many indigenous communities facing challenges from climate change. Are you able to learn from any other tribe solutions?
I think definitely. I think the tribe knows that in the not-so-distant future, we're going to have to take some pretty severe steps that I know other tribes, especially in Alaska and in the American South, have taken already. I think we're probably going to have to start thinking about relocation like some other tribes had. And I think it doesn't really help anybody to reinvent the wheel. I think we can see what has and hasn't worked for other tribes and try to see how we can adapt them to fit Pamunkey's needs.
Tune in next week for more stories about how climate change affects tribal communities. I'm Antonia Gonzalez for Our Living Lands, a collaboration of Koahnic Broadcast Corporation, Native Public Media, and the Mountain West News Bureau.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.
Support for Juneau Afternoon comes from Heritage Coffee Roasting Company, providing Juneau with locally roasted coffee for over 40 years, with cafes and drive-through locations throughout Juneau. More at heritagecoffee.com. This is Juneau Afternoon from your listener-supported public media station, KTOO. I'm your host, Boston Christopher. Finances are sometimes thought of as difficult. That adage comes to mind for me. Simple to learn, a lifetime to master. And learning about finances can certainly help unblock some of those challenges. And that's exactly what Tongass Federal Credit Union is doing with its Jumpstart Your Life Guide, a free resource designed specifically for high school seniors and recent grads in Southeast Alaska. And I've got a couple folks here to share more about it. I have Edwell John, who is the Tongass Federal Credit Union Juneau branch manager. Gwyneth Cheesh, Haigudi, thank you so much for coming in today. Edwell, how are you today? Wasiiti.
Great. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, and I also have Laura Castetter, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Community Development. Gwyneth Cheesh to you. Laura, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. It's so good to have you with us. So let's just get right into this. This is a really cool thing. Laura, how did this project, this Jumpstart Your Life guide, where did it germinate? How did it come about?
So your introduction was perfect. It is something that I think all of us and adults are always trying to learn more. A lot of us don't feel like we got an amazing financial education when we were younger. So we're all sort of aware of that. At Tongass, financial education is really important to us. We were started by teachers, so we already have a lot of financial education efforts. And this really just came about from staff and our team talking about that we didn't have resources like this when we were growing up, and wanting to have something that was a clear step-by-step guide for kids that they could follow. And something that also is a good complement to the other efforts that we do in financial education. So we decided to put it together, and
Very
we're
cool.
we're excited about it. We're proud of it.
I remember I went to high school in Anchorage, and I do remember taking a personal finance class at some point. I don't know if it was a requirement, but I think it might have been. It might have been an
Yeah.
elective. I think it was actually an elective, so you didn't have to take it. And it was great, but also I may have been a little bit young. So it's interesting to have this
hmm
come about when you're graduating, you're about to enter life. It's different than living at home and not having to worry so much about your finances. But let's go back again, Laura. And what is this Jump Start Your Life guide? What's included in there?
Yeah, so it's a printed guide. It's also available digitally, but a lot of the content in here is nice to have in a printed form. It is 10 steps, and the steps are meant to walk a young person through the basics from opening an account to planning to rent their first home. So it covers opening accounts, starting to make money and getting paid, getting paychecks, and what does it mean when half of your paycheck doesn't show up because it went to things like taxes, and we cover those things, so it's not so shocking. We get into
Those
budgeting
right.
and seasonal budgeting, things like that. So it's meant to be a step-by-step guide that kids can pick up and start with wherever they're at. So if they're already on step 3, they can start there.
Gotcha. Okay. I do want
Yeah,
to talk about some of the steps because I think they're really
yeah.
interesting. I know that, it's interesting because one of them, use credit wisely. When we get there, that's a good one
hmm
because that is a step that I didn't know about really when I was younger, and I was part of that group that was so easily swayed by, a lot of these like job fairs or things that
hmm
universities offer. They have folks there with, hey, here's our credit card. It's not going to cost you anything, but they don't really explain like how to use it. Edwell, like they don't say, hey, get this, but manage it. It doesn't mean it's like free money. You do have to pay it back, right? Like the idea of like what a credit card actually does and how to use it properly to grow your credit score so that you can eventually, maybe get a house or buy a car. And people don't even understand that stuff in terms of what your credit score actually really defines your financial life.
Right, it does. And using credit wisely, I did not have this in growing up, whether it be in the high school environment or even in the college environment. It was an elective, like you said.
Right.
And my son now is in Juneau Douglas High School, and he has an elective too. And I tried to briefly talk to him about using credit wisely and what it means to have a credit card, because it is a responsibility to have a credit card, and it can be very, very useful in life, in growing up. But it also can be a burden, having a credit card, and you're right. It definitely affects your credit score, and it definitely affects what you can get as far as the next steps down the road, planning for a home or planning for a car.
And if you and it might live on your credit report for a long time. Like, I think my first card was a Sears card, a Sears department store card, and that was not a good idea. But anyway, it is interesting too, because the thing with my daughter for a long time, I was always trying. We're going to go back to the beginning here of these steps because I think it's important. But I was always trying to get her to. Start saving that idea of saving 10% or saving 15% or doing those things. And she didn't do it for the longest time, but now she's a graduate. She has her first job, and I'm just telling you the story because I'm proud. I was talking to her the other day, and she goes, well, I had to do this because I had to set up my IRA, and I had to get my retirement account going. And I was like, I'm so happy right now.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
That's great.
It took a lot of years, but it's okay. So let's talk about these steps a little bit. And we can, some of them we might be able to gloss over, but then there might be some detail about other ones that you want to go into. So take it away, Laura. Let's go down these steps a little bit.
Yeah, so we start with opening up accounts, and we get into, of course, we're a credit union, so we love getting into what's the difference between a bank and a credit union and explaining that difference. A lot of people don't know, so we always like to lead in with that. And we like to, put in some plugs for how great we think credit unions are. But this also gets into the difference between checking or spending accounts versus savings accounts. And then another really good point in this section is debit cards and how to use them. What are some of the nuances of those, like holds, and when you go to the checkout and it asks you if you want to use the card as credit or debit, what does that actually mean? So this covers the real basic starts in there.
What does it actually mean, Laura, if I choose credit versus debit when I use my debit card?
So it actually means if you choose credit, a lot of times that means that there's some additional protections that come with that. It does not mean that you're getting any kind of loan for it or anything. It's still coming out of your account, but the way it processes is different.
I see.
And potentially there could be other things with that.
Okay.
Another thing that's close to my heart with this section is that we go into a bit of emotional spending and peer pressure spending, which I think is really important for our young people, and just kind of finding ways to catch themselves when they feel like they should spend some money. And is this something you want to do, or do you feel some pressure to do it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. That's opening accounts. And then, of course, if you have an account, you got to put something in it, right? So that's step 2, I guess, is get a job.
Exactly. The second one is start making money. And this one is really about paychecks and direct deposit and things like that. It's a very straightforward explanation of what happens when you get paid and how you get paid and all of that. So really basic, you're making money, and how's that actually going to get to you, and how much are you actually going to get?
Yeah, the take home versus what you think you're going to get, and then realize where that money's going. I have a question for you about this, because I've always been curious. Why do some places, and I know credit unions can be a little bit different, but there's places where it's like, hey, if you do direct deposit, we're not going to charge you any account fees. Why is that? Why is it that if somebody does direct deposit that they don't get account fees?
We have a lot of different ways that help us just ensure that money will stay in the credit union and helps us with that security. And so I think that's now granted, I'm the marketing person, so we would need our operations person here to fully explain that. But I know
yeah.
I can give you the marketing answer. A lot of that, especially for credit unions, is just kind of keeping that finances in the credret union. So
it makes sense because then the money's going to get there as opposed to somebody having to want. And it's so easy to do direct deposit. Like, that's the best thing ever. I love direct deposit. Okay, now here's the one that gets people caught up a lot, because this is the one thing that most people do not want to do. And that is step 3.
Yeah.
Create
budgeting.
a budget. That word budget, it's such a bad word, Laura.
I know. So we have some sessions that we can do in schools where we talk about these different steps. And the one about budgeting starts with, we know that the word budgeting is kind of an ick. We get it. Nobody wants to deal with it. Um, we like to focus on a budget is really just a way to plan your money and make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And young people in Southeast, our expenses are high, money is stretched. A budget is a great way to really make sure that you're making your money work for you. And thinking about it that way is a much better way than like the budget's telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah, it's interesting. Edwell, there was a program I used years ago called YNAB, or You Need a Budget, right? It's a digital program managing software. And it came with these rules. And the one rule I always remember, which I always thought was a good way to think about budgeting, was every dollar needs a job. Like you put some people do envelope buckets, like, okay, I've got $100. I'm going to put 20 of these dollars job is to buy me food, right? Or $20 is to buy me something. Or $10 of this is to go towards my vacation this coming fall. And so that money, that has a job over there. So it's an interesting thing because I think young people just get money and then want to spend it, right? And don't understand like, well, why I don't have the money now for XYZ thing. Like if I want to save up for, a gift or a video game or whatever expenditure I'm trying to do as a kid or a young person, having a way to think about budgeting. So that's really great as a step to talk about. I know you do these workshops in schools. This is a good time to talk about that too. I know you're trying to find ways to get this guide into the hands of more students. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then we'll talk about a couple of the other goals, Laura.
For sure. So the guide is just one piece of the bigger picture, and we love going into schools. We're in 14 communities in Southeast. We love going into all of the schools, letting the teacher take an hour off of their busy day, and we'll come in and do a financial education session. We specifically have sessions that align with this guide. So that we could come in and do a few of them. We can provide the guide. We can do custom sessions. It's something that our staff loves doing, and it's a fun thing. And we play games, and we keep it really, interesting and fun. So we're definitely looking to partner with more schools and more organizations. If I can mention, we partner with SAIL in Southeast to do financial education sessions with them. And so,
of course,
we love any opportunity to get in and talk about this stuff. We're a bit of financial wellness nerd, so we like to come in and we get very, very excited about it. So we like to come in and get the kids excited.
If someone was interested, a teacher, let's say, or someone else who might want this to come into their organization, Zach Gordon Youth Center or something like that, like you said, you're finding all these partners like SAIL. What's the best way to reach out? Is it to contact you, Laura?
Yeah, so we have, you can call the credit union. You can also email us. We have it's financialeducation@tongassfcu.com. You can do that, or you can also come into any location and talk to someone. And we are happy to get that started.
Because you can also pick up the guide at the locations, right?
Yeah.
You can, if you wanted to stop by and get one for your student, you could probably, if you yourself wanted to take your student through it, as you're sort of planning for, because I know oftentimes like a kid will graduate from school and then they go off to college somewhere and it's their first time away from home, and financial reality kind of hits them in the face, right? And it's like, what do I do now? And so having some of these understandings is good. And I want to skip to step 5. I know step 4 is set your goals, to figure out what you want to do with your money. But step 5 is start saving money. Can you talk about saving? Is it still the idea that 10% of what I make should go into the savings account? And is it 10% of my gross? Is it 10% of my net? Is it more? What is it less? Tell me a little bit about where we're at with that. Who wants to take that one?
I could take that one.
Okay.
So we do believe that financial education, any kind of counseling, does tend to be specific to the person and their
Mm-hmm.
situation. So even in teaching these, we'll teach the broad concepts and the techniques. But as far as how much to save, that is just so specific to how much someone has. And we like to give techniques for the ways that you can find that little bit of savings, and then the ways to ensure that you keep on doing that. We love auto transfers into accounts where it just go ahead, and puts that in there for you. We have some products like a savings builder certificate that can help kind of help people put that money away. It's a nice like starter product. So we focus on that for savings because there absolutely are people who maybe every paycheck they've got an extra $10 and that's
Right.
it.
Edwell?
But that $10 is something for sure.
Yeah, the $10 definitely adds up over time. Edwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that too about saving money. I think the step 4 is important, and we shouldn't skip over that. And when you're going over, as a parent, going over with the student on step 4, because setting your goals will help you define what you're going to save. For example, if you're getting ready to go to college in 2 years, then you might want to start saving more, more than 10%,
Oh, I see.
rather than, saving 10%, because that's
Yeah.
like, or if you're saving to go into the military, or you're saving to go to some sort of trade school, or you're saving to buy a car and you want that car next year. And that's a
Right.
motivation for your student, your son or daughter, to say, oh, no, I need to start saving more. So then you can start putting more. And so we'll go over that with you in step 4 on, what you need to save. What are your goals? What are your goals before we start talking about your saving?
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't mean to say that goals aren't important. I just know we're short for time.
Of course, yeah.
But yes, definitely you want to make sure that's in there.
Mhm.
What's interesting too is like, when you're thinking about this, you were just saying it, Laura, that you're looking for places where, if you are trying to save more, where you might be able to save from. Just a silly story. There was a couple years ago, there was a restaurant that I went to all the time. It was right near a previous workplace. And I would go there probably twice a week and spend, $20 a pop kind of thing, right? And you go, okay, well, that sounds okay at the time, but then if you annualize it and you start going, okay, well, $40 a week times 50, let's say, 2 weeks maybe off for vacation, you're not around this restaurant, that's $1,000. And when you think
Yeah.
$1,000 of what is my salary and what percentage of my salary is that to go to that one thing twice a week, and it's like, well, can I cut out one of those a week so I can save that money elsewhere, right? It's like looking at it in different ways. And boy, it took me a long time to figure some of these things out. I wish I had this guide when I was younger.
That's our favorite thing to hear is I wish I had this for
Yeah,
sure because
we
we all
need
get
this.
it. Yeah,
Um,
we all get it.
And I know I have up on the stream here, people can see all the steps. And of course, you can go to Tongass, fcu.com and, probably find it on there digitally and stuff. But we have time to maybe talk about one other step here before we need to wrap up. Is there something else we want to talk about in here that you think, Laura?
I would just love to. I think you're totally right that credit is such an important one. Even the, plan to buy a car can potentially involve credit. There's a lot to know with credit. We love to just cover the straightforward, here's where your credit score comes from. Here's how to understand that. What to do if you get a loan or credit card and you can't make a payment, make sure you talk to them. Just covering all of that. And it's a good starter knowledge on that because we live in a world where credit is a part of our financial, worlds. And so giving kids the guidelines and some good advice on how to, do that is important to us. So
Yeah.
we like talking about credit.
And as parents, you got to lead by example. I suppose, too, right? So that's part of it. But also as a parent, you probably want to know about, I know you guys do these financial reality fairs in high schools, and you're going to be trying to do more of those. So maybe ask your kids if those are coming up, if they've heard about it, right? If they maybe have that kind of situation. Or you don't even need to wait for a financial reality fair, right, Edwell? You can just sort of take it on yourself, find this guide, stop in, talk to somebody about it, and figure out what the next steps are.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to anybody that wants to drop by the branch here in Juneau, and I could even talk about my upbringing and what this guide could have done for me. And last thing I want to say, Boston, is I am personally committed to helping people, helping students, because I really want them to succeed. I want my student to succeed, my son to succeed, but I also want anybody that drops into the branch to succeed and to go over these steps. And the great thing about this guide, how Laura and people wrote this guide, is you as a parent to next week. You could go over step 3, because of course we all know the attention span of anybody, including adults, is very short. And going over all 10 steps in one sitting that's
overwhelming. You're right. That's
very overwhelming.
That's a great tip. Start slow, right? Just take it easy. Start those conversations with your kids or with yourself. I think because it sounds like you and me, we might have had similar things happening in our life. So I really appreciate you both being here, and it's really nice to hear that this is happening, that you've set this up for the youth of Juneau, and really for anybody in Juneau. I think anybody might be able to take advantage of this guide and learn a little bit more about their finances and stuff. So I really appreciate Edwell, John, and Laura Castetter from Tongass Federal Credit Union for coming in. One more time, Laura, just give us where we should go to find out more.
For sure. So you can email us at financialeducation@tongassfcu.com, and we'll give you any answers. We can offer you options. You could stop in to any branch in our 14 locations, or you can go to tongassfcu.com, and there's all kinds of information. So
appreciate it. Gwyneth Cheese for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, Gwyneth Cheese for being here. Really appreciate it. Okay, this is Juneau Afternoon from KTOO. Up next, we'll have a little star party. Support for Juneau Afternoon comes from Alaska Airlines Club 49. Membership information available at club49hub.com.
Let's have a star party. This is Steve Kostis with the Marie Treg Planetarium. I'm going to talk about gamma ray burst. The most energetic event we know in astronomy was the Big Bang. It happened about 15 billion years ago. Now, the second most energetic event we know of in astronomy are gamma ray bursts. They were first detected in the 1970s by classified military satellites, both Russian and American. Their function was to pick up nuclear detonations, which is the only source of gamma rays on planet Earth. Gamma rays are a form of light that's extremely short wavelength, extremely high energy. It has more energy per photon, which is the particle property of light, than X-rays. Now, these gamma ray bursts, in just seconds, they can release as much energy as our sun releases in its 10 billion year lifespan. If a gamma ray burst from 6,000 light years away hit the Earth, it would strip our atmosphere of ozone and cause lethal damage to most of life on the planet. In fact, 450 million years ago, during the Ordovician era, there was a mass extinction, and there is a conjecture that it may have been caused by a gamma ray burst. Currently, all the gamma ray bursts that have been detected have been in other galaxies. None have been detected in our own galaxy. Their origin is believed to be massive stars that have burned up their fuel and collapsed to black holes, and neutron stars that are orbiting each other and spiral and merge, and neutron stars and black holes that are orbiting one another and merge to form a larger black hole. So hope that no gamma ray burst hits us here on Earth. This is Steve Kosis with the Marie Drake Planetarium. We're doing public shows again. Our schedule is on our website at mariedrakeplanetarium.org. Thank you.
This is KTOO President Justin Showman. As you're likely aware, the federal government has rescinded all funding for public media. This isn't just a budget cut, it's a targeted attempt to dismantle one of the most trusted institutions in America. Public media had significant bipartisan support throughout nearly all of its history. This attack on independent journalism is part of a broader attack on our democracy, our communities, and our shared values. Your support is more important than ever. Donate today at ktoo.org.
You are listening to Juneau Afternoon from Studio 2K at KTOO, dedicated to Carolyn Hobbs Peterson. I'm your host, Boston Christopher. The Juneau Archery Club is dedicated to promoting the sport of archery in Juneau and beyond. They've got indoor and outdoor ranges and can even get you started if you have little to no experience. This Saturday, they are working to improve one of their trails, and you can help. I'm joined now by Danny Alston, Juneau Archery President. Gwyneth for being here today. Wasiyati, how are you, Danny?
Thank you, Gwyneth. I'm doing well, very well, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, though. What is the Juneau Archery Club?
Yes, so the Juneau Archery Club is a volunteer-led organization. It is a 501c4, so it's a nonprofit. It was established in 1987, so we've been around for quite a while.
Oh, wow.
We have, like you said, an indoor range and an outdoor range. Our indoor range is located next to the indoor rifle range. If we're in the same building, the door on the right goes to the indoor rifle range, the door to the left goes to the Juneau Archery Range, and it is manned by volunteer certified range masters. So when you come in, you're welcomed by individuals who know the basics of archery at the very least, and for anybody who's new to archery, you can expect safety instruction, the basics on how to perform archery, including stance, handholds. We'll get you set up with equipment. We have bows and arrows and personal protective equipment on site, and that is all included in your shooting fee.
So if I'm not an archery master, right?
Yeah.
And have my own stuff, or if I'm a parent and maybe want to get my teenager involved, or is there an age limit, or?
So the youngest is 6 years old. So
Oh,
anyone
six.
six and up
Wow.
are welcome to come. That's mainly because of our insurance.
Well, I was expecting higher,
Yep.
so that's so interesting that you can be 6.
Yep, 6 years old. We have bows that are have a low enough draw weight for a 6-year-old. Let me rephrase. For most 6-year-olds, I should say.
Yeah.
And we have bows that go all the way up to a 35-pound draw weight. And all of our bows are either NASP certified, so a lot of what the kids use in school, that's a NASP bow.
Okay.
NASP. And then we have a lot of traditional bows, which is what most people think of when they think of archery. And then anyone can bring in their own equipment as well, bows, arrows, safety equipment.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing that the archery club has that available to folks, and the ability to be a beginner if you're wanting to get into it and be able to start and not have to invest a lot of money right away in bows, and because I know the protective equipment can be a lot of money too, and it's all like leathers and plastic. I mean, it's all sometimes plastic, but I know that there's a lot going on with archery and, arrows and what kind of arrows, and I'm sure the arrows they can go from cheap to pricey, right? And different kinds of ranges.
It can quickly become an expensive hobby.
Yeah. Because it is a hobby, right? I mean, I'm sure there's people who are also hunting with arrows, bows and arrows. But I'm also, curious about like what people are doing as a amateur or a hobbyist. Like, are they competing, and do you have like competitions, or are there things that people do like that?
So we have quite a few things.
Okay.
I consider myself to be a hobbyist archer because I'm not in the hunting.
Right. Seems like that's a totally different kind of thing.
There's a lot of overlap, but they are different.
Yeah.
So you have your hunters, you have your competitive archers, which is what you see in the Olympics.
Okay.
And then you have your hobbyists, and that has a wide range of skill levels and mastery of the art.
Okay.
And so at the Juneau Archery Club, we have members leagues where anybody can come and shoot for a competition, and it's broken up by age and what you're shooting, and so it makes the competition more relative and more appropriate for the group that you're a part of.
Yeah.
So like beginner, and amateur, beginner, intermediate, and advanced groups. And then we also participate in state shoots as well. So we're competing against other archers in the state of Alaska. And that goes with the Alaska State Archery Association. And those are different shoots that usually happen in the spring.
Okay, before we get to this boardwalk repair happening on Saturday, you said you're an amateur hobbyist. That piques my interest, right?
Sure.
So how did you get started in archery? Where did that come from?
So I've always kind of had an interest in archery. And before I moved to Alaska a couple years ago, I was always really intimidated by it. And the Facebook algorithm just worked out. And I actually went to an Artemis group, which is a very separate conversation.
Oh, yeah. Artemis has been on the show before.
Yeah,
They're fantastic.
I love Artemis.
Yeah.
I was here a week and met all of the Artemis folks and became really good friends with Jody Dixon, who was the former ambassador, and she got me into archery, and I've been hooked ever since.
Wow. Do you remember, like, the first time, because you said you've always been interested in it, but I'm curious, like, was there a moment when you were younger, like you saw a movie or you saw, you read a book or something where you...
So for me, it was, I grew up in Colorado, and so we had a outdoor lab in sixth grade, and so we went out to the mountains and hung out for a week, and we did archery as one of our electives, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we kind of moved around a little bit and just never fell into place, and then coming to Alaska, right people, great environment, really supportive folks. Like, I've learned so much from all of the other range masters, board members. The archery community in Juneau is so passionate and so supportive. They're just such a great group of people that it just made it very easy and very comfortable to learn this hobby in my 30s.
And they suckered you into being president of the club.
Your words, not mine.
No, it's always great because, I mean, you get so interested in it, right? And then you want to, and it is all volunteer led.
Yes.
And so, and being, a good steward and being president is, I make fun, but I'm just saying, like, it is great to be involved in that way. Now, of course, maintenance is a thing, and that's what we're here. Yes. We want to mention this for people. It's this Saturday. It's going to be, tell us a little bit about, this is your outdoor course, right? You need some range repairs or boardwalk repairs?
All of the above.
Okay.
So to give a little bit of history on the outdoor range, the outdoor range is located on land managed by CBJ, Parks and Rec.
Okay.
So we have a lease, I guess you can say, with them, and we have to maintain this property. We have two ranges. We have our upper range and our lower range. The lower range has had significant environmental issues, so we're not even touching that right now. We're going to have to do some permitting and kind of all sorts of things. But the upper range is what we're focusing on right now. That is, it's a loop trail, a boardwalk trail. It was put together in the mid to late 80s, right around the same time that our organization was established. And it's a boardwalk loop that goes through forest, goes through a valley, a muskeg, and then back into forest. So there's a variety of terrain, especially for those who are interested in archery, hunting, bow hunting. And with the pandemic, things have just kind of fallen behind. And so we had a work day earlier in the summer. We got a lot of stuff done. We were able to put in 5 new targets, which was awesome. We had some great support from Greens Creek and Temsco with helicopters bringing them out. It was awesome.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So helpful. And volunteers with the Alaska Bow Hunters Association and the Anglers and Hunters Association. They've been wonderful. And we were able to fix one of our bridges, one of 3. One of our footbridges. We've been fixing and adjusting and replacing shingles on our boardwalk so that we're reducing slip and fall risks. It's a little slippery here in Juneau. So
just a wee bit.
And we replaced a set of stairs. And so we've gotten a lot done. But this weekend, we are hoping to finish up a little bit more. We have 2 more footbridges that we're working on. We want to finish laying some of the shingles. We have some moss that's growing along the boardwalk in the muskeg, and some trash removal.
Okay.
And just bringing the trail up to a more safe and accessible standard.
Gotcha. And this is Saturday, August 2nd. 9 a.m. to 2.
Yes.
Lunch is provided.
Yep. We'll have lunch, drinks, snacks.
Awesome.
Entertainment. I'll be there.
And how do people get information about this particular thing or about the archery club in general?
Absolutely. So right now the best source of information is going to be our Facebook page, which is the Juneau Archery Club. We have a Instagram page that has a lot of the same information, but Facebook is really going to be the best way to get a hold of us. Or we're always checking our email at juneauarcheryclub@gmail.com. We're pretty accessible. We historically haven't always been the best at responding. We have some more tech-savvy folks who are kind of involved, so we usually respond within 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a volunteer club, right?
Yeah.
People have jobs and lives, and it's busy, and but you will get back to people,
Yes.
right? And so for this, do I need to register for Saturday, or can I just show up?
It would be nice if people would give us a head count so we know how much food to bring.
Yeah.
So we do have an event on Facebook that has already been posted.
Okay.
So if you can respond to that, that would be great. But we certainly are not going to ask anybody to leave if they haven't responded.
Right, okay.
So if you've got a few minutes, I know bow hunting opens up today. No, tomorrow.
August 1st?
August 1st.
Yeah.
So the deer season opens up, so I know folks are going to be itching to go up into the mountains. But if they're around town and have some tools, some free time, and would like to help us get this up and running, we would be most appreciated.
Danny Alston, Juneau Archery Club, thanks so much. Gwyneth Cheesh for being here today. People can find out more by going to their Facebook page.
Yes.
Really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Ganeshish.
That will do it for today's Juneau Afternoon. We air Wednesday through Friday at 3 p.m. right here on KTOO Juneau 104.3 and KAUK Juneau Aukeman Bay 91.7. Hello, out the road. Our theme music is by Indian Agent. You can find live stream archives on KTOO's YouTube page. I'm Boston Christopher, producer and host of the program, with help today from Aaron Tripp. Gwyneth Cheesh.